Hello and welcome to Question Time. I'm Omkar Goswami. My guest is a brewmaster's daughter who qualified and worked as a master brewer before starting her own company. Since then, her company has grown from strength to strength and she brews a very heady financial. A revenue of 1,187 crore for the first 9 months of 2008-09 and an operating profit of 277 crore. Meet Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, Chairperson, Biocon Enterprises. Kiran, thank you so much for being on the show.
Hi, Omkar.
Tell us about when you returned from doing your course as a brewmaster at Ballarat in Australia and tried to start working. What happened?
Well, you know, I really encountered a very, very steep gender barrier. Basically, I think the world just felt that, you know, at least India was not ready for a woman brewmaster. And I just found it very, very difficult to pursue my profession. So, you know, it was a very, very disappointing time for me when I got back.
And why did you want to be a brewmaster? Because it is true, very few women are brewmasters.
Well, my father had a lot to do with that, you know. He was a very, very unique person, someone who really believed that there was no gender barrier. He wanted to see one of his children follow his footsteps because he was India's first brewmaster.
He worked for United Breweries, if I remember right.
He did, and I guess my two brothers were pursuing, you know, computer science, and therefore he felt that he better turn to his daughter to follow his footsteps, and I was the only person who was interested in biology and the life sciences.
And so you came back and you were working for a while, and you say that you faced a lot of gender bias. I mean, what kind? I mean, that a woman couldn't be a brewmaster or something else?
Well, you know, essentially they felt that I was okay to solve problems, I was okay to have technical discussions with, but I was not okay to manage a brewery. So basically they didn't want to entrust managerial responsibilities to a woman. They basically felt that, you know, I couldn't handle, say, labor unions, maybe I couldn't handle, you know, sort of odd hours of the night when there might be plant breakdowns and things like that. And essentially they felt I was high risk because, you know, it was their responsibility if they hired me as a brewmaster, and they just felt they didn't want to take on the risks associated with that.
So that was up to about 77. And then you got into starting a business. Where did that change happen and why?
You know, I would say that that happened very accidentally.
Tell us about the accident.
Yeah, so I call myself an accidental entrepreneur. You know, it was almost kind of on a rebound that I started Biocon. I was very disillusioned that I couldn't get a job as a brewmaster. I encountered a biotech entrepreneur from Ireland who was actually looking to set up a biotech company as a joint venture in India, and he was looking for a partner. He had heard about me.
This is Leslie Auchinleck.
This is Les Auchincloss, yes. And he basically tracked me down and sort of suddenly said to me, why don't, you know, you help me start this company in India? And, you know, having been so diffident about in terms of managing businesses, in terms of what I'd been faced with, I said to him, I'm not so sure that's the right thing to do because, you know, I am a woman in a country where they feel that women are not quite welcome in the business arena. But he seemed to not mind that, and he said, look, I'm looking for someone with, you know, a good flair, and I think you have it.
In an interview that you had with some magazine, you had said it was also a very difficult period financially because your father had lost some money on an investment that went wrong, and you weren't sure you wanted to put in money and take another big risk.
Certainly, I think I came from a lot of, you know, difficult kind of scenarios which sort of made me hesitate to take a plunge into entrepreneurship. Yes, you're right, my father had lost lost money in a business. As I said, you know, I had faced this huge gender sort of bias. And I just felt, you know, am I really ready to take on another such risk of, you know, starting up a business in a country that's so sort of hostile to women?